Here's something your English teacher never told you. British people have a very specific relationship with money, and it is absolutely nothing like the relationship you probably imagine we have. Today, I'm taking you through 5 elements of British money culture and the phrases that go with each one, so that next time you are in a pub, a shop, or a slightly awkward conversation with your British mother-in-law, you know exactly what is going on. Stick with me to the end because chapter 5 is where things get really interesting. Let's get straight into it. Chapter 1. Talking about money is taboo. Let's start with the big one. The rule every non-native speaker breaks by accident at some point, usually at a dinner party, to the horror of everyone else in the room. In Britain, talking about money is rude. You do not ask someone how much they earn. You do not ask what they paid for their house, and you do not casually inquire about the price of their watch or their holiday. A non-native speaker might ask directly, "How much is your rent?" and watch the whole room go very quiet very quickly. This is one of those rules you will never find in a textbook, but is one of the most important social rules in British life. Sometimes you really do need to ask a question about money. So we have a very specific phrase for doing it politely. Do you mind me asking? For example, do you mind me asking how much the rent is on this place? This phrase is a little verbal safety net. It gives the other person the option to say, "Actually, I'd rather not say," and both of you can back out with your dignity intact. Pop, "Do you mind me asking?" in front of any slightly sensitive question, and it immediately becomes acceptable. It is a magic phrase. Chapter 2. The sacred pub rounds system. Right, let's move it to the pub, because if there is one British money ritual that confuses foreigners more than any other, it is this. In Britain, when you go out drinking in a group, you do not pay for your own drinks. That would be a bit weird and a bit rude. Instead, you take it in turns to buy drinks for everyone in the group, and this is called buying a round. The round system is a sacred British social contract, and if you ever skip your round, people will remember it for the rest of your life. When it is your turn to buy drinks for everyone, the phrase is, "It's my round." For example, "Right, it's my round. What's everyone having?" The only correct response from your friends is to immediately tell you what they want to drink. A non-native speaker might try to say, "Let me pay for my own," which would cause a small amount of British social panic at the table. What a British person says instead, after someone has bought them a drink, is, "I'll get the next one." For example, "Cheers, mate, I'll get the next one." That is a promise. You have publicly committed yourself to the next round, and the whole system is in balance. Chapter 3. Complaining about being broke. Now, here's something wonderfully and weirdly British. It is socially acceptable, bordering on socially required, to complain about having no money. In a lot of other cultures, you might try to hide the fact that you're struggling. In Britain, we lead with it. A British person earning £200,000 a year and a British person on minimum wage will both, with the exact same face and the exact same tone, confidently tell you they are absolutely broke. It is a national bonding exercise at this point. Now, your textbook would give you, I have no money, which is technically correct, but nobody actually says it. What we say is, I'm skint. For example, I can't come for drinks tonight. I'm completely skint. Skint is the #1 British word for broke, and you will hear it every single day. Put it straight into your vocabulary now. If you want to sound a bit more dramatic, we have this gorgeous old-fashioned phrase. I haven't got 2 pennies to rub together. For example, don't ask me to lend you money, mate. I haven't got 2 pennies to rub together. It is a bit more old school, a bit more theatrical, and if you use it yourself, you will sound incredibly charming. Now, the phrase that lives in the mouth of every working British adult, payday can't come soon enough. For anyone new to the UK, payday is simply the day your monthly salary is deposited into your bank account. Since most British jobs only pay you once a month, that final week before the money arrives usually feels like a desperate race for survival. For example, a Brit might say, oh God, payday can't come soon enough. I'm surviving on beans on toast until Friday. We talk about payday like a religious event. We count down to it. We make plans the second the money lands, and we mourn it by the following Tuesday. If you're new to a British workplace, complaining about payday will win you friends faster than anything else. Chapter 4. Britain loves a bargain and hates a rip-off. This is one of the most British cultural traits there is. In Britain, the ultimate social flex is not telling people how much you spent on something. It is telling them how little you spent on it. Oh, this coat, got it on sale for a tenner. That is the real win. We get more pleasure out of buying a good bargain than from buying something brand new at full price. And we absolutely love announcing it to everyone around us. A non-native speaker would say, it was a really good deal, which is fine, but a bit flat. What a British person says is absolute steal. For example, I got these trainers for 15 quid. It was an absolute steal. A bargain is a triumph. You've outsmarted capitalism, and the shop didn't even notice. We also have a cheerier cousin of this phrase. What a bargain. For example, 3 for £10. What a bargain. When the deal is so good, you would have been mad to walk away from it, we reach for the phrase, couldn't say no for that price. For example, I didn't need another pair of boots, but I couldn't say no for that price. This is the ultimate justification phrase, and it gets wheeled out to explain every unnecessary purchase ever made in this country. The flip side of loving a bargain is that British people absolutely hate being overcharged. When something is too expensive, we say it is daylight robbery. For example, £8 for a pint. That's daylight robbery. This phrase is pure outrage. It means you feel personally robbed, as if the shopkeeper has reached into your pocket and taken your wallet right there in the middle of the high street. It is dramatic and it is very, very British. Chapter 5. Class markers around money. And finally, my personal favourite chapter. Now, before we dive in, a quick disclaimer. The British class system is an incredibly deep, messy, and ancient topic that could fill an entire library, so this is obviously condensed for the video. But in the UK, how you talk about money and how you describe other people's money is one of the biggest tells of where you sit on the social ladder. In Britain, there is a very specific dynamic. We generally respect new money, people who worked for it, but we often mock old money, people who inherited it, while simultaneously pretending we aren't rich even when we are. It's a bit of a minefield. When someone is rich, a non-native speaker would say, he has a lot of money, which is true, but a bit boring. What a British person says is, he's minted. For example, have you seen Dave's new car? He must be absolutely minted. Minted is cheerful and casual, and crucially, it doesn't sound jealous, which matters a lot in this country. Another one you'll hear a lot is rolling in it. For example, her family are rolling in it. They've got a place in London and one in the south of France. This one always comes with the slightly raised eyebrow of someone who is very mildly bitter about it, but would never admit that openly. And the final one is so British. Born with a silver spoon. The full phrase is born with a silver spoon in their mouth, though we usually shorten it. For example, oh, he was basically born with a silver spoon. The silver spoon refers to an old tradition where wealthy godparents would give silver spoons as christening gifts. If you were born with one, you were literally being fed wealth from day one. In the UK, there is a huge romanticism around the working class hustle. We love the idea of someone starting with nothing and grafting, working hard, to get to the top. Because of this, people who inherited their wealth, the silver spoon crowd, are often looked down upon as not understanding the real world. In fact, you'll often find very wealthy British people trying to sound less posh or acting skint just to fit in with the normal crowd. We have a strange habit of hiding our success because in British culture, being relatable is more important than being rich. And there you have it. 5 chapters, 5 very British relationships with money, and a whole stack of phrases you can start using this week. Let me know in the comments about money customs in your own culture. I'm so curious and would love to hear about it. Remember, if you're looking to level up your English and really get confident, I recommend you check out my Beyond the Basics of English course. You can find the link in the description. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.